We back. It ain't no more cloud. We back. We out here.
No more evil cloud.
No more evil cloud. We out here. We are a force. We are here, dog. You don't understand. And what's up, y'all? Welcome to another episode of the For All Nerds Show. It's your boy, DJ Benhameen, a.k.a. Ben Trim, a.k.a. The Fling, Weed Richards, Stay Woke Kang, here in the spaceship tonight. And as always, I'm joined by
Tatiana King, the Grand Duchess of Tech, also known as the coldest winter soldier ever, Doc Aki, Tesseract Thompson, Spax the Destroyer, Tatiana Kang the Conqueror, and LaWanda Vision. I'll give you
there
that
we
one.
Go. There we go. Well, as you heard by my very specific AKAs, Ben Trim here in the spaceship tonight. Weed Richards.
No, the other one got me. That's what I shook my head about.
Stay Woke Kang?
The Fling.
Oh, the Fling. Yeah. Yeah, Ben Trim. Got to get some of that trim.
Oh, get the sir.
The Fling. So here we are in the spaceship. Back to review Fantastic Four First Steps in theaters this Friday, directed by Matt. Did I get that right, or am I fucking it up? No, I did get that right. Right? Yeah, well, directed by Matt Shatner.
What you're not getting right is our first 30 seconds, because geez Louise, the language.
Oh, language. Well, that all be bleeped. You know what I mean? Big shout out to our
Matt Shackman's the director.
Yes, big shout out to our editor extraordinaire, Mr. Luna. Thank you for saving us. But Matt Shatner directs Fantastic Four First Steps in theaters this Friday. Yes, right?
This Friday, July 25th.
Thank you. I've lost track of time. That's another story that we'll get back to in another day. Today, we are here to review this movie. No spoilers, of course, not a word. I mean, really, honestly, there's not much to spoil. I will say that.
Disney didn't spoil already.
Yeah. I guess off air, you can tell me what was that in the last trailer that you said beforehand. Because
I'll tell you after.
Okay, cool. Because I definitely didn't see that last trailer, so I didn't know whatever was spoiled. But most of this film, this is the introduction of the Fantastic Four that we all know and love. Reed Richards, Susan Storm, Johnny Storm, Ben Grimm. And they are fighting Galactus, who is invading their Earth because they are not on the same Earth 616 that we know and love. This is an alternate Earth that, in the multiverse, of course. And it takes place in a 1960s version of their Earth, where the Fantastic Four have been operating for a few years at this point, and their technology and Reed Richards, especially his genius, has pervaded through all levels of society of this Earth. So there's flying cars, things of that nature. It's a little more science fiction, but still 1960s vibe. And off top, I want to give a real shout out to Matt and the whole production design of everything, because it really felt like you were in that vibe. I remember beforehand, I was comparing it to Dick Tracy and how Superman Metropolis kind of has that same vibe. And it's kind of,
it goes beyond.
Yeah, Superman's Metropolis, I'm talking about the most recent Superman, is a little bit more of a 1930s, 1940s Art Deco style, while this is definitely more like 1960s New York, like New York. And then, with the Fantastic Four thrown into it.
It's retro futuristic from, like you said, from that standpoint of Fantastic Four in their version of Earth. And it's transformative in that it really takes you to another place. Like, you do not feel like you're on the Earth 616 or whatever the Earth is, because that's been up for debate again about whether or not we've been in 616. But that notwithstanding, you do feel like you are on a different timeline of Earth. You do feel like you're in a different place. And that's one of the many refreshing things about Fantastic Four 2025. What is it? Fantastic Four First Steps?
Yeah, that's the distinct. We back. It ain't no more cloud. We back. We out here.
No more evil cloud.
No more evil cloud. We out here. We are a force. We are here, dog. You don't understand.
That's a distinguished, right, of
so
all the other ones. Yeah.
Basically what you want to call this.
First Steps. Now. Okay. Yeah. And you mentioned it, just how you have this whole story of who the Fantastic Four is. And yes, it's been done it's been done like 5 times over in the last 20 years. But there is, as we know, there is a new generation of people who do not know who they are and do not have the backstory. And this still gives you this story of how they came to be. It fast forwards through a lot of that and then gives you right into the heart and depth of it.
I want to say that was one of my things. I've been talking about this a lot on our reviews, is that usually for me, it's the first 15 minutes of a movie. If it doesn't catch me, if I'm like, damn, I want to fast forward this first 15 minutes and next time I see this movie, I probably don't want to see the rest of the movie because it's just, I just know that, when those first 15 minutes aren't like, okay, I would watch this again, then usually the rest of the movie doesn't work for me either. And that's pretty tried and true for especially the last few reviews. That's been my gauge now. If I don't like the first 15 minutes, I'm probably not gonna like the rest of the movie. There'll be scenes and things of that nature that I'll watch again, but as a whole movie, I'm just like, nah, that's not gonna work.
I would agree with that approach because you have to commit. Like a movie is not like a show where you could just turn off. Yes, you could just walk out the theater, sure, but it's just like I committed 2 hours or whatever how long the film is, and just to be like, damn, I got to sit here for the rest of this. Absolutely.
Or even if it's like there are scenes in it, like the most recent Mission Impossible. I remember 15 minutes on that. I was like,
he was like, this ain't it. This ain't it.
And then there are scenes that I can't wait to see. But as far as watching that whole movie ever again, ain't no way.
Right.
I turned to you about 10 minutes into this and was like, yo, they got me.
They got it.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got them.
Right. Yeah. One point I wanted to add, just when you were explaining the just from the basic terms of just how this world is built and how it's presented to us. And this is a very important point. Not only is this an alternate Earth in the 1960s retro future setting, it's also in the most idealized setting. So as far as I can tell, there's no racism.
I was going to get to that a little later.
As far as I can tell, there's no colorism. Right. As far as I can tell, there's no isms whatsoever. And everyone is ultra cooperative. I mean, on a global scale, very cooperative. And that's another reason why I'm like, I know this isn't Earth 616, nor is it any Earth that I know of, let alone any USA, New York that I know of. New York being an outlier, and yes, you have a melting pot of people, sure. But there's notes on, we got notes on New York, right? There's notes on everything. And like I said, the other reason why this felt transportive or transformative is just because the isms that I, as a Black woman, know very intimately, we're just not there.
No.
And that's, I was like, this is a fairy tale space. So, and that's not shade. This is just giving you a better understanding of what kind of setting we're talking about.
There we go, setting the table for people. And I think that's something for them to know, because it's just like with the most recent Superman. Again, I was talking to Jay Slayer recently about it, and he was like, yo, my kids loved it, not me. And I was like, well, you got to go into it with the eyes of a child fan, because it's that same thing. And that Superman, you don't hear about isms and that. Well, I will say Superman at least touches on that, a lot more than even Fantastic Four does.
That's a way more imperfect. Most of these super films, that's it, superhero films, have shown imperfect places, right? Yes, there are villains, but even the villains are like, don't seem that bad, at least in this Fantastic Four, right? So it's just like, oh, maybe misunderstood. As opposed to full-blown, what's a badism besides racism,
Sexism.
Misogyny, like.
Yeah, those do not seem to exist in this world.
Right.
No. And that is something that I don't want to say that is glossed over. It's one of those things, I think, where you have to accept the effect of someone like Reed Richards and someone like Sue Storm, even though they are both, to us, white presenting. I mean, well, in this world, Reed is played by Pedro Pascal. But a super genius family who has, given themselves to the world, and what effect that would have on the world. And especially a world that has been used to intergalactic and, threats of that nature, where they might be more unified than us because they've met aliens, they've seen alien races, they've seen a lot more than we have at this point. So I think that might be one of the contributing factors to as to why the movie is the way it is. Like you say, where we don't see any of these isms. It's a very idealized world.
Yeah. And as mentioned, I do think that's really important to hold that in your head when you go into, it's like, just in terms of if you do want to set an expectation for yourself, just take yourself out of this world. And it is actually because, and as I said before, that's not shade. That's actually a good thing. And the main reason is that when I came out of this film, I put my hands up to the sky and I said, prayers goes up, blessings come down, because I felt like finally something good has happened to me recently, besides Ironheart, in the world of MCU. Just in terms of just feeling happy, in terms of feeling satisfied, in terms of not feeling depressed, in terms of not feeling like beaten down. And that could also be derivative of what's going on in real life, which I understand. But also, I've just, in a lot of these films, I've just, even in the TV shows, I just felt like, damn, we can't catch a break. Damn, is something negative happened. Damn, is something depressing happening. I came away from this feeling joyful.
Yes.
And that makes all the difference for me when it comes to, one of the reasons why, when it comes to this film, why I was really, really happy with it.
I mean, Thunderbolts is definitely a lot more.
That's depressing.
Yeah, it's dealing with mental issues, a lot of things. Yeah, so I see what you mean there. Okay. So that being said, yes, Ironheart and Fantastic Four, and once again, going back to Superman, I feel like Superman and Fantastic Four have a lot of the same DNA, I'll say. And I enjoyed both of them for that reason, where at the end of it all, I was very overjoyed. As a huge, like, you see behind me, you know, the X-Men, of course, and everything, but you see right in front of me, I got my Fantastic Four. Everyone who watches this show or knows me for any length of time, you cannot begin to see the length of Galactus, you know, fiendom that I live in. But I'm also a huge Fantastic Four fan because of that. And shout out to, of course, Stan Lee and Jack the King Kirby and John Byrne, Ryan North. There's been so many great runs, but definitely John Byrne and Ryan North I really want to shout out, because those are two of my all-time favorite Fantastic Four runs. This got it. And it got it right off the break, where you just feel like you're in this fully lived-in world. And if you're a Fantastic Four fan, there are so many quick shout-outs and Easter eggs thrown in where you're like, oh, yes, okay, cool. We're here. We're in it. They get it. And so that, you know, the world building within the first 15, 20 minutes is so exceptionally done to me, where I'm like, okay, this is great. It feels like Fantastic Four. It feels like a world where the Fantastic Four has existed for some time and have been saving the world. And that's the thing about the Fantastic Four. Like, if you're a fan of the comics, they're Marvel's first family. They are that lighthearted, well, not lighthearted, because they are a family. So they go through everything that a family would go through, but they always save the day. They're like the Doctor Who of the MCU. They're explorers more than superheroes. So they're always in these weird dimensions, off in space, doing all this different stuff.
Science,
yeah. Science, bitch. Madness, bitch. And so that's how this felt, you know, straight up, without the bitch. You know, there was some cursing in it, which I was like, oh, yeah, I like that.
But it wasn't excessive, right?
No, but it was nice, and it worked for the setting, etc. And like I said, because this is a family who will have arguments, who will go through those things, you know, that all worked for me. I loved it pretty much beginning to end. I definitely want to get into some of the characters and, you know, the acting. And, you know, as always, once again, Marvel's casting department, I mean, just effing incredible. I've enjoyed certain people in certain roles doing the Fantastic Four before, like Chris Evans as Human Torch, Chickless as the Thing, but this is the first family right here.
And yeah, Ben, just to round off that point about when you mentioned Easter eggs and all that, there is so much fan service done in the most tasteful way that I've never really seen in a long time. Most times when there's fan service, and I know I'm using the anime term, but it's even used here in these things, right? We talk about Easter eggs, we talk about homages and things like that. And things that are done, things that are said to literally just stoke nostalgia in the people who have the history, right? Or just to say, hey, we said the word, you know, things like that. Like if someone says, something about the Force in a Star Wars film or TV show, right? Even though it may have nothing to do with Jedi, right? The fact that they say it's because they're stoking that. There's so much of that in Fantastic Four, but it's done in a way that it's embedded, really balanced throughout the film. And there's so much of it that is so well embedded that you will miss it. And as you said, the first 15 minutes, I was like, bro, I have to watch this again. Like, before the film got anywhere, I said, I have to watch this again. And I think that really shows the power of, as you mentioned, world building, the good storytelling, and a good entry. When that first 15, 20 minutes was over, Ben looked at me and said, that was a hell of an intro.
Yeah, I
or
said
talk
that's
about an intro.
I said that's how you introduce a movie.
Right.
That's how you start off a movie.
It grabs you immediately, no matter where you stand in the history of knowing anything about Fantastic Four. You come in there blank, having nothing.
Yep.
You are good.
Good after that first 15 minutes. You'll understand everything about them.
If you have every figurine since 1952 or whatever the year was,
1963.
You will be. It's like, what word can I use that's well above pleasantly surprised?
Enamored.
You will be thrilled, enamored. You will be
pleased,
satisfied,
serviced.
Hey, yo.
Well, we gotta be careful when you say that. But yes, like,
serve this royalty.
It's so much to see. It's so much to do. It's so much to learn. And that's another aspect, again, when we're talking about Marvel, to me, Marvel reconstituting themselves. It's just, I've felt where I'm missing the will to learn or the will to want to care about what's going on around me. I'm being honest with you. It's just like, I don't really want to learn more about this, even though I may have already known. I'm like, because the delivery was off. There was something off about it. This feels right. This feels really well thought out. In terms of the writers, we see Josh Friedman, Eric Pearson, Jeff Kaplan, and of course, the director, Matt Shakman. I think why I'm having this type of reaction, because I'm just so happy. I just don't be that happy coming out these films like that.
Lately. I mean, lately for like 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that being said, I remember COVID, etc. But yeah, it's been rough. It's been rough. Since Endgame, it's been hit or miss, and a lot more miss. A lot more miss.
Okay, we could go just more into, you mentioned the casting. Yes, I will still like Chickless is still one of the if not the definitive thing for me. However, Eben Moss Backrack, aka Cousin from the Bear.
Yeah.
I think he is the true successor.
Yeah.
And I hope, and I would love to find out, I hope I get a chance to interview him. Did he even speak to Michael? Did they have words? And Michael send a blessing, anything?
I saw a thread from Michael today where he was giving them their blessing. He said there's been a lot of, talk to him for the last 2 months since the run up, and he's been, overjoyed to pass it along.
Okay. Yeah, I had always said, no one's touching Chickless when it comes to this, because, he embodies that humanity within The Rock, right? And
I knew as soon as they cast Cousin that it was a rap. I mean, not a rap, but I knew that he was going to put his stamp on it.
Yeah, but Eben put his foot into Ben Grimm.
Yes.
He put his foot into it. I will say I wanted to see more. I understand why they didn't focus on his character. They touched on it. Like, Ben is a very tragic character. He's a tragic, and this is based on knowledge. Just the fact that with the Fantastic Four getting their powers, he's the only one that changed physically, like to the point where he can't turn back to just having normal skin or human normal skin or normal face. Like, he's and this is through every iteration of it. He's constantly looking at himself. He's constantly doubting himself. He's constantly has the feeling like, why would anybody love me? I literally am a fucking boulder, right? I'm a thing. And even though we get a little bit of that, not as deep as you want it to be, you still feel the pain. And maybe that's an Eben thing, but this man can emote his ass off.
I think like you said, that you could have got more, but I also love that what they did with the time with him, with Reed, with normal people on the street. All of those things contributed because Reed and Ben's relationship is very special. They were best friends before he became the test pilot that led to this. So it's like you said, it's steeped in tragedy and steeped in drama. And this is just the beginning. So that was more than enough for me. And again, like you said, Eben, and down the line for me, this is now the first family. They got it. All four of them did it. There's not a weak link here. All four of them did the damn thing. This is Marvel's first family. This is the future foundation. This is the Fantastic Four.
What did you feel about Joseph Quinn as Johnny Storm?
Incredible. And one thing that there's a lot of things that I really liked about the portrayal of this version of the Fantastic Four, but one thing that I really want to touch. I love Joseph Quinn from Stranger Things. I can never get over how much my man looks like Robert Downey Jr. It is the weirdest thing to me in the world, but I do want to say that I love this portrayal of Johnny Storm because they didn't go with the idiot hot rod Johnny Storm. They went with someone who would be Susan Storm's brother because Susan Storm is a genius as well.
Yeah.
And so you wouldn't have an idiot younger brother like that.
Well, you could.
But I hate that trope.
It's very tropey, and it doesn't justify why they would all be tagging along on these scientific missions. At the end of the day, these are highly scientific missions, and you can't have a bumbling idiot next to you who don't know 1 + 1 is 2, right? And I'm glad you mentioned that because I did want to mention that they made it so like everyone felt equal. Like no one's smarter than Reed, but they felt like, yes, they all belonged in that space. No one felt dumber than the next. Yes. Everyone contributed. And I will agree with you on that point when it comes to Joseph Quinn's Johnny Storm. They played with the trope, but then elevated him.
Yes.
It wasn't just pure, dumb, sexy, whatever he calls himself, right? Like it was, he has purpose.
And that goes back to something I wanted to mention about the Easter eggs and things of that nature that you were talking about, is that this goes back to the very beginning of the comics. First of all, as we said, as I keep saying, Marvel, this is their first family. Stan and Jack, this is the first comic book. This is what led off the Marvel Revolution, is Fantastic Four. And they, as a group of characters, have always lived in this world where they're celebrities. Their faces are known. Like the Fantastic Four have always been that group. They're not the X-Men where they're feared and hated. They're not the Avengers where they're like Earth's mightiest heroes. They're the first family. Everybody knows them. They're on the lunch boxes. They're on the cereals.
They're commercialized.
They're commercialized. They have a comic book that Ben Grimm will walk down to the Marvel offices and complain how they get his adventures wrong. That's how it goes in the comics. So they incorporate all those type of things into this. And I loved all of that. And that's why, like, Joseph Quinn has a lot of those moments where, he gets to show off how the world reacts around the Fantastic Four.
Yeah. Like, what is that? It's like almost breaking the fourth wall, but not fourth wall, but not. Because it's like, it's the world of the film's fourth wall, but not the actual real life fourth wall. So what is that? The fifth wall? Like, I don't know what that's.
It's one of those weird things, but it's called. Like, the Fantastic Four in Marvel Comics have a monthly comic that's written about them, and in the comic book,
that they have the comic, like, and they're reacting to that.
Yeah, it's like the real thing. Like, it's like as if Fantastic Four suddenly appeared in New York right now, right? If suddenly there was 4 dudes with powers, Marvel Comics would be like, "Yo, we need to make a comic about them," and then they would start consulting them and being like, "Yo, what are your adventures about? Okay, cool, let's write about those." And so that's how it works. It's that type of thing. And then eventually they would have movies made about them. And people would be like, yo, what did you do? Okay, let's write about that. And so that's how it works in the comics. And that's how it's working in this universe that this first steps is taking place in. And I loved that because that's like they're celebrities. Their faces are known. And they always save the day. They bring science, like we said, to the job. So it's like they're this thing where they're celebrated.
Yeah, it's believable. I would say that it's more believable because they don't rely on the tropes, or they they do this a lot throughout the movie with almost everything, where they take you down one alley and then they pull you into another. Like you think you're going one way and they go the other way. And they do this with each of the characters too. It's like, well, you think you know how I'm going to present you this character, but now I'm going to throw you over here to give you a little bit of a curveball just so you don't anticipate and try to guess where we're going with this. And it's done in a very almost respectful manner to this version of Johnny Storm, because it, as mentioned, it does give him more, it gives him more agency.
Yes. And I think that comes up a lot. Ryan North, who's the current Fantastic Four writer in the comics and is absolutely killing it. And his run is like that, where it's a very science approach where they're all very brilliant. And even though Johnny is still a hot rod, fun loving guy, he's not an idiot.
But
yeah, he's not
you got a job, my guy.
And also, and that's another one I want to go back to is Ben Grimm in this, where Ben Grimm, he is that tragic figure. He's loved in this.
He is very
he's
much
never called a monster.
He's not feared.
He's not feared. The fans, the people
kids.
on the street, everyone loves him. And I think that is a very dope version of the thing, because that's they've had that version in the comics.
I've seen the opposite of where everyone's like, oh, it's Sue, Reed, Johnny, and that nigga over there.
Yeah, I don't
and it's really sad.
Yeah, and I think that going with this version where they're all celebrities, and he's even accepted who he is. He can walk down the street, people know him by first name. He knows people by first name. They invoke the Yancey Street name and even the gang a little bit for comic book fans. That's something, Ben Grimm is from Yancey Street, and the Yancey Street gang is something that comes up in the comics a lot. So it was all those little touches that are just fantastic. Can we talk about woman?
Vanessa Kirby as Sue Storm. Vanessa served.
Talk about Vanessa.
Vanessa a face card.
Oh my God.
I mean, that's like a long-running joke about people who use like powers that are either like mind type powers or powers that you can't exactly see, but it's doing kinetic shit. Yeah. You gotta serve face.
She serves face so well. You feel it.
You feel it, yeah. And Vanessa Kirby, I love her as that. I mean, yes, she's done a lot of things, but my main thing where I really fell in love with her was because of Mission Impossible.
Same.
And so I was like, oh, I want to see her in everything. And to see her in this, like she eats when it comes to this role of Sue.
I haven't seen her in a lot of things. It's pretty much Mission Impossible in this. And so I was concerned because I didn't know. And in Mission Impossible, she is such a dope character that I wasn't sure if that was just, was she one note or could she do Sue Storm? And she is Sue Storm because she is the mother. She is the warrior. She is the intelligence. She is the heart of the team. She is, the sister, the everything that
the leader,
Sue Storm, the leader,
everything. Like I'm every woman. That's her.
Yes, yes.
Like she do that. She does.
She does it all, and Sue is such an important character to me. Like I said, I'm a big Fantastic Four fan. And a little quick history, because I've been thinking about this a lot, is Susan Storm was one of those characters who, when she first debuted, she's the Invisible Girl, right? With Mr. Fantastic Girl, right? She doesn't even have force fields at first. All she can do is turn invisible. She is a liability on most of the original missions.
Liability.
It's sad because every time she turns invisible, the villain is like, well, I can see you through this, or some other way. They can always find a way. She's always getting knocked out or captured for like the first 50-something issues. It's terrible. She is constantly getting played. Then she gets the force fields and other, writers come in and start really using her better than Stan. Even Stan, does better with her later on. But John Byrne, it takes until John Byrne, right, into the 1980s, so like 20-something years of this character. At this point, Sue Storm has had Franklin in the comics, and I think she's miscarried. Yeah, she has. She has miscarried her second child in the comics, and she's still going around by the Invisible Girl. It takes a violation by this character who basically does mental and whatever else type attack on her that is a pure violation of her being, for her to finally say, no, I need to be called the Invisible Woman.
Yeah, and that's fucked up for obvious reasons.
Yeah, it's just a ridiculously sad thing that it took this character that long for men because they were always writing her to be like, well, yeah, maybe she should be a woman instead of this invisible girl.
The answer is because men.
Yes, because men. And so that being said,
this is not that.
This is not that. This is the fully developed Susan Storm, the invisible woman with the invisibility, with the force fields to the max, the most dangerous character in the FF, honestly. And that's been established through the comics for a long time now. Like, she is easily the most dangerous character when it comes down to it. She can murder you in a dozen different ways.
Yeah, if they're going down to the old X-Men, when they say, oh, you are mega level, she's one of them.
She's a problem.
She's a big joker. Yo, what's up, fam? It is I, Tatiana King, and I want y'all to know that I need you to do me a favor. Please share this show. You're listening to us, you're watching us, but you're gatekeeping, and I don't understand why you're doing that. I really need you to share with your friends, share with your mama, share with your cousin, share with everybody, because if you're like me, you love to share the joy, and it's really important that you do that. So please tell people about For All Nerds. I love you. And
yes,
just in speaking of power levels, they were consistent.
Yes.
Thank you, Marvel. They were consistent, and they really showed you these are not the ones to fuck around with. None of them. The power set that they were showing for each of these people and how they wielded their powers and the creativity around that, it's done very strongly.
Yes.
And I really got a sense of like when someone was displaying a level of power that was overwhelming, that it felt and looked overwhelming. And that, again, is just an aspect that had been missing that now it's like, okay, thank you for showing me what it means when this nigga Johnny Storm is on fire.
When he does Nova.
When he does it. Show me what it means when we say Ben Grimm is as strong as whatever they say he's as strong as. Yes. Show me what it means in terms of, yes, Reed's intelligence, but also the fact that this nigga can fucking stretch longer than you think, right? Like, but all that to say, back to Sue, how they show her power levels and not just her superpowers, her mental prowess,
fortitude.
Her mental fortitude.
The fact that she is nearly as smart as Reed.
Everything about her was so well done. And then just looking at it from a woman's lens, I was like, thank God. Like, I didn't expect nothing less, but I was just like, woof, thank God.
Yeah. Like I said, I gave you that whole backstory to know how she used to get played in the comics. But current writers, including even going back to John Byrne, but Ryan North once again utilizes Sue to the peak of her ability. And I always love seeing that. And this movie gets it. She is the heart and soul of the FF. She is the most powerful member of the FF. And all of that was fully on display.
She's everything. And and of course I can't say, but there's one scene where I was gagged. I was just like, really?
Yeah.
Really?
I was waiting for that. I already knew.
Really?
And
involving Sue Storm specifically.
I know exactly what you're talking about. And I was like, yep.
I was like, wow.
That's right.
Talk about powerful.
That's my woman. And then I also want to say, like you were talking about the powers and the usage of powers. This goes back to the first Avengers, where I was sitting in the theater and there's power combinations being displayed on screen.
I love it.
I'm like, okay, that's dope. Those two did that and they comboed together. Oh, okay, fire. And it's nothing being said, it's just happening. And that's like the first Avengers when at one point Iron Man flies by and shoots Cap's shield, and Cap holds up his shield and it reflects off and blasts and hits some of the aliens. And it's just instinctual because these two barely even know each other at that point. While the Fantastic Four are working together, for years as a team and as a family. And that's all shown, through their actions and through the acting, and the action and the fighting scenes.
Then we have Pedro Pascal as Reed Richards. Phenomenal Reed. Big zaddy energy.
Yeah.
I love Pedro is so smart, just how he takes on characters and brings them to life.
Yeah.
The cadence of which he speaks when he's speaking as Reed.
Yeah.
It's different. And when I say different, I mean, Reed does not speak like other people, right?
No.
That's because he doesn't think like other people, right? And I don't know, sometimes I look at him like a Dr. Manhattan type where I'm just like, Are you with me right now? Like, are you even on the same plane of existence as I am? I know you're sitting next to me, but are you here right now?
No, he's not.
And Reed is not. And you see that, like, he has social skills, yes, but he's different.
Yes.
He's different in his speech, his tone, the way he thinks, but it's in his presentation as a person. And the way that Pedro was able to deliver that, like him giving him the script and he says, okay, like what, like there's been lots of iterations of Reed. What made him say, this is the way I'm going to say these words? And once y'all watch it, you'll get what I'm saying when I'm expressing about how he speaks is so vastly important to understanding the characterization of Reed.
This is just Reed down. Like, I just keep doing that. This is the perfect casting of the Fantastic Four to me. And while I can definitely say that, like you said, I would like more of Johnny and more of Ben, the interactions between Reed and Sue, and that's what I was waiting for.
Those are real interesting. I believed it.
I mean, from the movie Chemistry opens with them two, and they carry it from then on, and chemistry is the word of the day.
Mm-hmm.
The sex. I just felt it like in the immortal words of my show, this guy fucks. This girl fucks. These two right here, they doing some serious good fucking.
Right. I mean, and honestly, we're joking about it, but you want that. You want that to.
Oh, I don't mean like those two actors. I just mean like
I know what you mean from a character's perspective.
Sue as characters are.
What I was gonna say was you want that to show through the character work of these actors when they're portraying these characters, because yes, you mentioned that this is a family, but also these two are a couple. And they are a couple. These are a super family.
Yes.
And presumably, at least in this universe, the only super folks around that are really helping doing a lot. And they are a couple going through couple things and going through the impossible, right? And there's got to be some times where it's just, like you said, the sex.
The sex.
It comes through. And I don't mean literal. I just mean that energy and that connection between them. Like you feel it.
Fury and that passion.
And the fury and the passion. And they are both so passionate. And there are several scenes where they both get exceptionally passionate about whatever the topic is at hand. And you sitting there like, damn, should I be here right now? Like, y'all need a room real quick. And again, I'm not talking about physical stuff. I'm talking about just talking. The drama. And that's why I wanted to see more. There is the drama between them, but not from toxicity. It's just from love.
And from a dramatic situation and it's strenuous situation.
Yes.
And I love it because that's what the Fantastic Four is all about, and that, oh man, this movie hits all the way on that.
Ben, before we get out the character stuff, we got to talk about your man's Ralph Ineson as Galactus, as well as Julia Garner as Shalabal.
Let me take a sip of this water real quick. All right, hold up.
Yeah.
Because I've been waiting on this.
Okay.
I've been waiting, all my life. Play some Phil Collins right now, let me talk. Let me double fist it real quick. You know what I mean? If y'all don't understand, there's another behind me. There's like, 20 or so. Look, I put it on Threads. The cloud days are over.
Mm-hmm.
We have a terrifying, a force of nature, a essential part of the universe, the third force between eternity and death, Galactus Galen, the only survivor of a prior universe. We have it. If you are a fan of Galactus, like I'm a fan of Galactus, if you know nothing of Galactus, this movie will make you a fan. Ralph Emerson, that's the man?
Ralph Ineson.
Ineson. Fucking incredible. Ralph Incredible is what I'm calling that man from now on because he did that. From the moment I'm sitting there in the theater with Tatiana, like, cheering. Come on, it's coming. Because they're building up to the moment where we're gonna see Galactus. And his intro is pure perfection. I'm so glad that Marvel, at least as far as I saw, don't watch any more commercials because I didn't see shit. I didn't know exactly how it looked. I remember all I saw was the foot walking through the city and the shadow.
They still didn't really show you exactly how he looks, but he looks how he's supposed to look. I will say that.
He looks exactly like this big joint. If you have the Marvel HasLab or you Google the Marvel HasLab Galactus, and that's a perfect representation. I mean, it's the colors, everything. This ain't even the right colors to me, but it is what it is. They did it. It's the force. Yeah. It's the feeling. It's the fear. This nigga is the most terrifying thing in the universe, and you feel that with Galactus.
You feel
you are insignificant next to this force of nature, and all of that is just on display.
You feel it. You see it. You even in the dialogue that's shared by Galactus. As you mentioned, the way, and this is also just a shout out to overall the effects of the film. The effects on the film were top tier, top tier. And the way Galactus was depicted, I felt like Omar coming type shit. Like when he was there, we're fucked. Like it was nothing about, there was no, all you could do is be filled with trepidation. And then I also, in the same tone, at least for me, Julia Garner and Shia LaBeouf talk about I already knew Galactus to be terrifying. Yes. I didn't know. I'm from the Norrin Rad days, so I didn't know much about Shia LaBeouf. Shia LaBeouf is insane.
Yeah.
In terms of how they I've always known heralds, literally, it's a herald of the apocalypse, right? It's a herald of the worst thing you could think of, sure. But I'm like, oh, these niggas just say what they gotta say and dip, right? And then also, I've seen the stories, particularly from X-Men, where particularly Norrin, where it's oh, they start realizing maybe I shouldn't be doing this, right? So they're trying to redeem themselves. Yeah. So my last outing with heralds are oh, they're trying to redeem, they're trying to be helpful, right? This is not that. This is Omar coming, Shia LaBeouf, right? And with no remorse. And it's very reminiscent of T2. You know, the liquid metal Terminator? Think about that. And I'm talking to people listening. Think about that. And how ridiculously scary that was, at least in that time it was. And just, put that fear onto Shia LaBeouf and just maybe up it by 1 trillion, because we're talking about a celestial intergalactic threat.
Yeah.
That's the level. And that is precisely what you need when we're talking about a big bad of this nature, right? That's precisely what you need when we talk about being consistent with how you express. Why should I fear this bad, quote, bad guy, right? This is why, yes, Galactus East Worlds, whatever. But the coming of him, the heralding of him before he arrives, that shit is insane.
Yeah. That being said, like you said, Norrin Rad is often known as the peace, love, all that type of thing.
Oh, my bad, fam. Let me help.
But this is, even then, Norrin Rad is supposed to be, especially when you first see him, unknowable, an angel of death.
Right.
And so that is the version of Norrin that I've always known as well before he, redeems himself. And Shala is the same thing. They go through it. Not all the heralds are like that, though.
Shala didn't give me angel. Shala gave me, hey, y'all are cooked.
Well, that's angel of death.
Yeah, but I don't know. Norrin gave me the sorry for you guys. Like I don't know. I felt like a tinge of, oh, it's hopeless, but this is just how it is. Where almost Shala was giving me that energy of no hope.
Well, it is no hope, and this is how it is, and that's the energy.
And this is how it is, and also almost it's almost the same, but it's also just a tinge of, Shala just gave me a tinge of meanness, a hint of more mean than what I was used to. Let's just say that. Maybe that's the difference, because they're both doing the same things, but it's just a tiny more bit of. I don't know. Intentionally,
I still got the regret with Shala, and I think that's what's really great, because that's
after the fact. Yeah.
Well,
I'm talking about right when you meet her. It's just like, yikes.
Well, when you meet her, as we've seen in the commercials and everything, it is, the announcement of doom, and that's what it is. It's not like that's the thing. Shala and the Silver Surfer character in general is someone who has accepted what Galactus is. Like Galactus is as they say, an essential part of the universe. It is something that is supposed to be eating planets. It's just fucked up that, we happen to be on one. So that's how, Silver Surfer looks at it in general. And that's why you get that feeling of,
yeah, like, oh, my fault. I don't know. It's just, it's the, hey, this is a organism that just showed up to your planet. Sorry, fam. Like, versus this organism showed up. And then, like, it's something, it's just a level of intent there. It was just something that was slightly different than what I was expecting. Let's say that.
I think, well, yeah.
And it wasn't bad. I was just saying.
No, that's, yeah. As I've said, like, because there's different versions of Surfer, this was like, oh, okay.
This was intense.
Yeah,
and that's how. Let me say that it was more intense than I. Yeah,
and that's how it should be. That's how Silver Surfer, no matter Norrin, whoever it is, no matter what herald, because there are many heralds of Galactus. There's Fire Lord, there's Terrence Tamer, there's Morg, there's Airwalker, there's many heralds, and no matter which one Nova shows up, it's a feeling of all of you are going to die, and there's nothing you can do about it.
This is true.
Like, because it ain't about the herald. It's about what's coming after them.
Right.
It doesn't matter how they say it. They can show up and say it's smiling.
Deliver the message a little more nicely.
No, they can do that. Niggas can show up as a fucking Bozo the Clown and do backflips and be like, oh, you were going to die. Galactus is coming. And it still ain't gonna work out when that nigga show up.
Right.
You're gonna be like, what the fuck? That's kind of corny. And then this nigga shows up and you're like, oh, you're right. I guess it wasn't corny.
No, you're right. And you know what? That's just, I realize now that's just coming from my last memories of Norrin, which is,
that's what I'm saying.
He's trying to be helpful. But
it doesn't matter that he's trying to be helpful. Because when this nigga show up, you still gonna get 8. Like, thanks for trying to help, nigga. I'd rather a nigga keep it real. You know what I mean? I'd rather niggas show up like, nigga, all y'all niggas is cooked, nigga. I've done this over and over again.
Yeah.
And this nigga cooks everyone.
Yeah. The effects on Julia as Shala look great.
Yes.
True Surfer energy throughout the film, from the way she moves, the way she talks, the way she presents. Yes, you're going to be happy with that presentation. Yeah. There are lots of other side characters that show up to the delight. I know Ben, every time they name the character, Ben said, yes.
And it's a lot of just really
everybody.
Yeah, they named so many like goofy Fantastic Four characters.
That's why I said it was fan service, because they did name damn near everybody.
Yeah, they name a lot of people, y'all. Like, if you're a Fantastic Four fan, there are a lot of shout outs to all the various things, like as we've seen the Future Foundation, all the different incarnations, I'll say, of the Fantastic Four. And then even in the credits, I was reading, and they gave us a lot of shout outs to a bunch of the creators like Ryan North and John Byrne, who are just responsible for so much of this lore that we're seeing on screen. So I really like that. Yeah. And as others have said, this is definitely a true love letter to Jack the King Kirby, which I want to take a second and say something, because Stan the Man Lee has been pretty much driven into our consciousness due to his cameos. Rest in peace to both of them. Mm-hmm. But Jack is often not given enough credit. Like, Jack is known as the king. He is known as one of the greatest artists of all time. He revolutionized comic book art for all time. But as far as what he contributed to the X-Men, to the Fantastic Four, to Daredevil,
to the DNA of comic books,
to the DNA of Marvel, especially, it's often not given enough credit.
Yeah.
Because Stan often, is like, oh, well, he wrote all this, but that's not exactly true. And Jack did probably, especially when it comes to the creating, a lot more of the heavy lifting. Mm-hmm. Stan is definitely the salesperson who made it where they became the brand that they became, but without Jack's creative genius. And I say that, I want to say it again and again, and I mean, God fucking damn genius, put him on the level of Michelangelo, any of them type of, great artists you want to ever name, Jack Kirby has to be on that list. And I'm so happy that this film takes the time in several different ways and in one beautiful, absolutely beautiful way that I won't reveal here to give the tribute to Jack the King Kirby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also just because I don't want to make sure we mention it, Herbie.
Yeah.
That's actually played by someone, Matthew Wood. Herbie was cute. It's going to sell a lot of toys for sure.
Yeah, I wonder. I mean, he ugly as fuck. I don't know how many toys. I mean, I don't know how many kids
It's
gonna
going to
fuck with
sell
him.
toys because it's like it was cute.
Yeah.
Like I don't think you're gonna.
He wasn't annoying.
It's not like it wasn't annoying. There it was. He
Yeah.
wasn't annoying, which
I'll say
tends
that.
to be the case when they try
Yeah.
to introduce a character for selling toys' sake. So
Yeah, he was not annoying. And Herbie has a long history in the comics and
Herbie
in
been there.
alternate, cartoons, etc. So, it's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the main other things why this film is so strong was the way it sounded, the score.
Yeah.
Not soundtrack. There was no soundtrack. In terms of like regular contemporary music or anything like that.
Yeah.
The score was
dope.
Sensational.
Yeah.
It really was. As like from and this is probably what led to me feeling like this didn't feel episodic. It didn't feel like I saw hard lines of act 1, act 2, act 3. I didn't feel that at all. I just felt like this was one continuous story, which has also something that, and this is not just Marvel films, a lot of films, it's like you can see the lines of delineation. Like, okay, this is the first act. Then we're gonna have the training montage. Then we're gonna do this. Like it's very formulaic. You don't feel like I didn't remember when one act, quote, act began and one ended, or when one scene. Like half the times the scenes blend so seamlessly with another. I didn't realize they was done talking. They was off that topic. Now they're going to the new one. And what helped that tremendously was the score.
Yes.
The orchestral sounds, and yes, the effects, of course, but it felt very grand.
Yeah. It gave me Flash Gordon, triumphant, space opera, Star Wars, Dune.
It was the dramatics
with
of
a fantastic twist, and it's one of those scores like the main Fantastic Four theme that we've heard in the commercials and stuff. When it comes back up throughout the movie after you've heard it once, you're like, ooh, it's an instant classic theme to me. Like that theme is something. It's gonna be right there with the Avengers theme. Like when I hear the Avengers theme in the movie, I'm like, and that's gonna be the same thing. When they play that Fantastic Four theme, I'm gonna get hyped every time now.
And they don't OD on anything.
No.
Like, and that's why I said a lot of times where I didn't realize like all the scenes were blending so seamlessly within another. Like it was literally the lived experience of this family, and like the sound beds, just like when they're talking, and there's, as you say, there's this maybe there's a triumphant.
There's a
crescendo
moment
happening, and then then there's a lull, and then it waves on to another sound. Like it's so seamless.
Yeah, there's a moment when Surfer is chasing Torch, and I'm like, I will replay that scene, that music over and over again.
Oh man, the music was just so on point. Well, we already mentioned the. I think there was only one thing where I had a question about the way it looked effects wise, but everything else was solid as hell. Anyone who was CGI or had CGI bits to them, even Ben Grimm being one of, like, I don't know what was necessarily practical versus what was just digital, but it looked good.
He looks great.
He looks really, really good. And I'm not going to give away one of the little gags that they do with him, and you may see it in like the trailers or whatever.
You've
like that.
Seen a little bit of it,
but they do a gag with him that works so well with his character. It works. It's been in the comics, yes, but I just really liked how they gave him. They expressed his humanity, not in also how he's acted, but how he looked.
Yeah.
And the big blue, the eye. He always talk about the blue eyes and all that stuff. Like it's very strong. What we say, character, writing, direction, cinematography, action, the action, crazy, the fights, crazy.
Yeah. I mean, it's Galactus. Like, it's Galactus on screen. How anyone who've read any comics where they have a big Galactus battle, I even think they did. Yeah, they did. They did a shot from one of the famous Fantastic Four versus Galactus battles done by John Byrne. So
Yeah.
it was just the comics come to life in terms of that for me, and that's just what I've been waiting for my whole life. Y'all understand? Like Galactus and me go back to like middle school. That's when I first became a goddamn fiend of this nigga. So it's it's a long time coming for me, and it was perfection. I had no notes on how Galactus, the Surfer, the Four looked in their battles throughout the movie, and just not just the battles, but just how they moved, how they interacted with each other. Like I talked about before, all the different power team ups, things of that nature. Surfer and the Torch, everything dope.
Yeah. And just one of the last points that I mentioned earlier, but I just want to bring it up again.
Yeah.
There's so many there's so many false endings and false like red herrings about how a scene is gonna go.
Yeah.
And I think there were major ones, and I literally think to go along with the motif that it happened 4 times. There were 4 literally, because I was counting them while I was in it there. There were 4 major times where you thought shit was one way, then it changed the other way. And to to your great excitement, because it's just like it keeps you on the edge of your seat, it keeps you engaged, and yeah, like we were both sitting up like, yo, what is about to happen next? Like,
yeah,
I'm excited to watch this, and which is why even coming out, I said, yo, I gotta watch this again. I will pay the money to see this. We also saw this on IMAX. This is one of the things.
Great.
It looks great. It is one of them films that was shot for IMAX. Go see it on IMAX if you can.
Yeah, because even just like the interactions, like the opening scene, when I'm like, ooh, I was like, oh, this is beautiful.
There's
on that
so
IMAX.
much stuff to see.
Yeah.
It's colorful.
Yeah.
It's not the neon brightness colorful. It's just colorful that it feels like it has life.
Yeah.
And it's not dull, if you will, right?
No.
Like, there's stuff that could be colored but be dull, you know, like there's certain films that have done that, unfortunately, which is like an oxymoron, but this is not it. This gives you life, this gives you vigor, and I just gotta say, just overall, they won. Marvel won.
No, this is definitely right. We keep saying, since Endgame, but it's Thunderbolts proved that they were back on track, and this is, so a 1-2 punch for the summer for them. They definitely, came up this summer. And with Superman being as good as it is, I think that's really just great for superhero films in general to have this great summer that they're having, where all 3 of these films to me are 4 out of 5 at the lowest.
Yeah.
All 3 of them.
Absolutely. I would probably rate the same. I 4.5 out of 5.
Yeah, for Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
I'm saying 4.5, B plus, A minus. Yeah.
Yeah, I would probably rate it that way. And
with Galactus, I'm going like A minus, A.
Yeah.
Like it's like
for
it's
everything
near
you
an
said.
A for me with Galactus.
But I agree with you. Even
that.
as someone who I love Galactus the person, but I'm not, the fiend like you, but I love it. And no, the dialogue. They left nothing on the table. And
the way he speaks is just it's so perfect. Yeah. It's so poetic. It's so like epic. It's so much I'm a billions of year old force, my dude. Like I'm just have no time for your infamestal lives. You are not here but for an instant to me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they left nothing on the table when it came to this film, and I had high hopes, but this completely exceeded my expectations. So This is one of the rare times I actually hope that they make $1 billion with this, so that we can really see what more they can do. They got to keep Matt Shackman on.
Oh yeah,
they can't. You got to let that man cook.
He got his trilogy is guaranteed.
It has to be. It has to be. There is both a mid credits and end credits scene, so stay for that. You absolutely want to stay for that.
Yes, you do.
Can't say why, but you got to.
If you are a comic book fan and you know about the character Franklin Richards, there are a lot of shout outs and just a lot of things that from his lore, I will say, that are given a little bit of time, a little bit of shouts, people a lot of things. And I really enjoyed that. Franklin is definitely one of my favorite characters in general. Like as a kid, as he grows up, he's just a great little kid. So I love Franklin, and I hope to really get to see him. I don't know if we'll ever get to see him join up with Power Pack, the little superhero team of kids that he does join, but that'd be really dope if they ever did a Power Pack series and put Franklin in there. I'd be really hyped for that.
They can do a lot with this. The implications are vast as we need to know for anything where the multiverse is involved.
Yeah,
the implications are vast. This film runs for 2 hours 10 minutes, and so which is actually pretty tight for what they did and the level of detail that they were able to fit in here. That's actually pretty good editing. I'm kind of shocked because I expected it to be like 3 hours long. So,
and that's with credits,
right? And that's with the end credit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
everything. So, they did a phenomenal job. It's the pacing on point. Just, I don't think there's much more I could say besides this is a win. This is a huge win for MCU. I hope it does very well. I absolutely recommend it.
It's a huge win for fans of the Big Dog, baby. We back. It ain't no more Cloud. We back. We out here. Dog.
No more evil Cloud.
No more evil Cloud. We out here. We are a force. We are here, dog. You don't understand. Oh, man.
Make sure, thank you. Well, first of all, thank you. Thank you all for listening to us. Thank you for checking out what we had to say about Fantastic Four First Steps. The definitive version of the Fantastic Four from now on.
Facts.
Please make sure you're doing a few things for us. Please make sure you're following, liking, subscribing, rating, all of the good things for All Nerds. FORALLNERDES. DS. Can't spell there. Make sure that you are doing a couple more things. Go to forallnerds.com to support us. You like what you hear. You want to hear more of us. You want us to get more guests, more opportunities. Please go to our website because there you can get some cool merch and other dope things that we design, such as our special Dr. Doom graphic designs here. There are a variety of other designs you can get, again, on forallnerds.com. So please hit that up. Also go to our Patreon, patreon.com/forallnerds. If you are a patron, you get first dibs on things like screening access. You get gifts. You get giveaways, all sorts of stuff. In fact, we have a Fantastic Four giveaway coming up just for the patrons.
Yep.
You can't get it unless you're a patron. So make sure you sign up, do that. Make sure you following us all over the interwebs for All Nerds. Make sure you're also following us individually, DJ Benhameen and Tatiana King. Make sure you're following DJ Benhameen on bigdjenergy.com, where you can get his music, his information about his graphic novel, Eisner Award nominated.
Yeah, let's put that award energy out there. The Eisner Awards Artist Weekend. Shout out to everybody going through the San Diego Comic-Con. But yes, Jimi Hendrix Purple Haze
there you go.
is Eisner Award nominated. So let's put some good energy out, where next week I'll be talking about how Jimi Hendrix Purple Haze is an Eisner Award winning graphic novel. Oh my God, you'll never hear the end of it, folks. What's up, y'all? Thank you for watching that video that you just watched. Do one thing for me. Hit the like, hit the subscribe button. Do it because you love us. Do it for the cause. It's the For All Nerds Show.
For All Nerds Show is a member of the Loudspeakers Network, where we always say rest in peace to our founder, Combat Jack.
For All Nerds Show is powered by our listeners. Everything we do, from our podcasts, live events, our website, are all independently funded. Please continue to support us through our Patreon page at patreon.com/forallnerds.